Good afternoon, welcome to another Matt's Chat. Today we're going to talk about vlogging and basically where do you get started. It's come up a few times in different ways. The first thing I want to say is some people are aware that some things have changed in YouTube, for example, but unaware that there is already stuff on my channel. Now, I'm not saying that I have the answers to everything, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff related to YouTube is constantly replicated. Things change, but they don't change immensely. So a tutorial I did, say, 12 months ago is still relevant today. It'll still be relevant for the next 3 or 5 years because the setups aren't changing that much. But one of the key things I want to start with today is do not spend your money. The reason I say that is often people will overthink what they need. They then start to delay their making of videos because they start concentrating on equipment rather than concentrating on actually making videos. I mean, here's a prime example. This has only just started. There's 4 people watching already, and I'm not even on video. I'm purely on audio because YouTube really is pushing the live chats these days. And one of the things I will say with this, I do like the fact that you get the live chat to the side of it. You can communicate lively. 6 watchers now. See, there's people watching everything, even if there's no video. So one of the things I will say is don't assume you need to be spending a lot of money straight away. What you need to do is work out where your weak points are, because it may not be your software, it may not be your camera, it could be audio, it could be the fact that your internet speed's too slow, it could be something completely different. You know, like you need a tripod more than you need a new microphone. This is why it's better to just start and develop it as you go. You don't need fancy intros, you don't need the outros, you don't need your own theme tune. If people like your content, they will watch it. The main thing is good content. The rest of it follows on from that. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff with the guys from the Philippines side, you will see their numbers increase significantly doing day-to-day stuff. You know, I noticed Christopher Lane's done one recently about loading a mobile phone in the Philippines. People are interested in that stuff. It's basic stuff, but at the same time, maybe you haven't been in the Philippines or don't know how to do it, or just curious how they do it in the Philippines, you look for that stuff. And that's the thing. When people say, I don't know what to make videos about, often it's right in front of you. It's stuff you're doing every day. I mean, here in La Mata, things like the market day or going down to the what do you call it, the harbour or whatever, it's stuff people want to see. People want to see the beach. People want to see what it's like to live in Spain. So even when you haven't got any content as such that you think, well, hang on, I haven't got anything interesting to say, sometimes you don't even have to say a single word, just wander around with a camera's enough. But the key elements on this is not over investing at day one. Software wise, if you're on the Mac, iMovie does a great job. I'm using iMovie more and more these days. I was using Camtasia, but I've been having issues with that because my laptop's on the way out, which is on the Windows. So I sort of got pushed into iMovie, and I'm finding it does everything I need on the tin, so no complaints there. But I also say Windows Movie Maker works well because it's basic. If you're starting off, it's ideal because it doesn't overcomplicate things. Because when you go for the bigger packages, the $500 editors and stuff, you're looking at the screen and it's got so much stuff going on in there. It's just noise. It may put you off at day one. So I'd recommend just start with the basics, learn about the issues you get. You know, sometimes you get video and audio out of synchronization. How do you put it back? How do you split the sound? Those sort of things are more important. If you're doing a gaming channel, one of the things I do recommend is getting your audio from your mic separated from the game. Now, you're probably thinking, well, why would you do that? Well, the thing where you get in games is you get explosions and things. So you get this sudden boom in the audio. It just blasts it. And if it's something like Call of Duty or something where there's a lot of gunfire and stuff, your audio of you speaking may be like in the background. Nobody can hear it. So the easiest way of sorting that out is getting yourself a little program called Audacity. Audacity or Audacity. It's completely free. And it's fantastic. I used to use it for the call center as well, because I could clear out some of the audio when I was trying to listen for specific things. It works really well. It's cheap. Well, it's free. It's quick to learn, and it's great for recording just your microphone. So you record your mic with that, and you're recording the game on your computer screen. So they're separate. You've got two audio tracks there. One's getting recorded with a video, and one's getting recorded with the audio. So when you put them together, you can reduce the volume on the game and increase the one on your volume for your mic, so that you can get the sound levels just right. Otherwise, you get this interference. Doesn't sound right. You said something and it's washed out with explosions or gaming music, whatever. If you got the audio tracks going in separately, it's not an issue. One of the things I recommend as well is you don't need to buy a big camera to start off with. I mean, I've got a very good DSLR 650D. It's a Canon. It's a very, very good camera. I use that for things like doing the real estate stuff because it's, you know, higher quality, but at the same time, you don't really need it. You know, I like photography. That's what I bought it for. But at the same time, it's a very good camera. Christopher Lane joins us. Good to see you, Chris. I've only used iMovie. Seems to get the job done, although there have been times I've wanted to do more. iMovie does have its limitation. I agree. And I think the thing is, when you're starting out, you start off with keeping it simple, and you develop the software with your knowledge. You know, it's a bit like doing photography. I use Lightroom a lot, but I find Photoshop is a bit too intense for me. Not because I can't use it, but for learning how to expand with what I want to do, it takes a lot of time, and I don't have the time to sit there and go through all the tutorials and everything. So that's why I like Lightroom. It's quick, easy, gets the job done for what I do. I'm a bit of traditionalist on the photography side. I'm not one for over editing. So I had this discussion at the photography club, the fact that I prefer real photography, as I call it, and not edited heavily. But at the same time, it all depends what people want out of it. You know, I've got no problem with people doing it. I'm just saying that I'm more of a traditionalist on that sense. But at the same time, Lightroom has a lot to offer as well. But you do take time even learning that. But adding that with Photoshop, because they have two sets of amazing tools in there, it takes a lot of time to actually understand it, and then they keep developing it and adding new things and altering things. So yeah, that's why I say, you know, start with iMovie, like you say, but it does have its limitations. But then you've reached a point where you want to change it. That's the thing. But if you start off with too much, I think you get too involved in the stuff that is not going to help your channel develop, because you're going to start spending a lot of time on the editing and things like that, where you might be going, well, hang on, maybe I'm better off putting some content out there first, getting a feel of people actually interested in it, and then starting to develop it. So me, I don't do the intros and outros anymore. I took them back off. I just found that it was, unless they're going to be on some sort of content which was more commercial, I didn't see the point of doing it. What do you think would be the next step up from iMovie? I think it depends what you want to do with it. I mean, the thing is, I find Camtasia does a lot of stuff, but I found the the Mac version isn't as good as the version on Windows. But it really depends what you want to do. Because a lot of stuff I do tutorial-wise is recording the screen and then having the the view of the camera as well. So things like Bandicam and things like that, I like. Snagit works quite well, but sometimes I find Snagit goes a bit weird on the screen resolution. You can end up with a bit of distortion in there. I'm not sure what causes it. But it depends what you want to do. Because it's like GarageBand, you know, if you want to put music together, GarageBand's pretty good for doing your soundtracks and stuff for your own stuff. So you don't have to bother with the commercial stuff. You can use sound loops and things to make quite funky or bass-driven tunes, which are great for YouTube. You know, because they're simple, not overcomplicated. You know, you can spend as much time as you like in it. You don't have to go over the top. You don't have to think, right, I need to make an intro, so I'm gonna go and buy a guitar and a drum kit. You can just do it with other people's loops and edit them in there. But yeah, it depends what you want to do with it. It's because there's so many packages out there and they have different pros and cons on them. Filmora's, what's that one? Hang on, let me have a look. I actually bought this one as well, because I bought a fair few. Filmora, I'm trying to remember the name. I don't want to click on it and open it up, but Filmora do a good package. I found that one was only like $50, but it does. You can record the screen. You can do your narration over the top. There's good editors in there. You can buy extra intros and stuff like that. That's quite good, and it's cheap and it's fast. I mean, I've even got a version of that on my mobile phone. So that's worth looking for. Filmora, Filmora. I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure it's Filmora. I'm trying to remember the name of the product. But if you look for that Filmora video editor, you'll see the one that comes up. I like using that because it's fast and easy. But it depends if you want to go more commercial, keep it simple, or wanting to do more with intros and outros, editing audio, having on-screen video as well, because that's what some of these packages you can actually have yourself on the screen. That's it. Real Deal's just joined it. Yeah, Wondershare, that's it. Yeah, thanks for that. I've forgotten. I didn't want to click on and open it in case it messed up the this podcast. But yeah, I like that. It's very simple. Yeah, $50. You can't go wrong. $50 for it. It's got other intros, because I bought more intros off it. I've got like Pac-Man and Space Invader intros, because even within it, you can buy some more bits and pieces for it. It's very quick and easy. It's basic, but it's a nice little package, and it's readily available. You know, it doesn't take long to download, easy to use, quick to get it up and going. And yeah, it's got loads of different types of text intros and stuff as well. You'll probably see some of it through my stuff as well, because I use it a lot. But more recently, like I said, I'm using iMovie purely because I've moved over from the laptop. But if it's done on my phone, it might have the old Wondershare Filmora, because I've got that installed. And the thing with the one on the mobile phone, I think it's free, which is even cooler, because you can edit stuff on your phone and upload on the fly, or upload when you're out. Because one of the things I do when we're out in a restaurant is I'll just leave it uploading while I'm sat having a cup of tea or something, because my internet's really crap at the house. But sometimes these restaurants, because they're in the city or whatever, have got really good internet. Burden of living next to the beach. Microphones, I highly recommend the Rodeo one. I've got, I think it's 2 of them now. I've got a clip-on mic that goes on my, what do you call it? It's a clip-on mic that I use with my Samsung phone. That works really well. If you see me at the beach and the sound sounds really good and there's no wave noise, it's because I'm using that microphone. I've got another one which is a boom type mic that sits on the back, the top of the DSLR. Also very good audio on those. They're a bit pricey for getting started, but I do recommend them. The quality is really, really good. And the mic I'm on at the moment is a Sennheiser 835, which is more for stage type music, because I think it was yesterday or the day before I rigged up my sound mixer for the Mac. It's the first time I took it out of the box in a while because I was getting some feedback issues on my PC, but I think that was the power supply on the desktop PC I've got. But it seems a lot better now. I have Wondershare and Sony Studio Platinum, $79. That's 79 US dollars or 79 Australian dollars. Easiest way to do it is look it up, because I tell you what, the UK, they just do direct conversions, even though the exchange rates aren't anywhere near the same. They'll just go, oh, it's roughly the same. Yeah, we paid like 30% more or whatever. Just because they just go, yeah, $100 equals £100. Yeah, so that's a good deal. I mean, $79 for 2 good software packages, you can't go wrong. But I do think a lot of people need to just get into it first, because the big problems I find is initially you're sitting there and you get that bit where you're just like, I'm in front of the camera, what was I going to say? You know, you sort of need to get to a point where you're just comfortable just talking to the wall. Because once you get to that point, the rest of it becomes a bit easier, because like now I'm actually adjusting the microphone and talking at the same time, where when it first started, I couldn't do that. I would find that really awkward. I would stop talking while I was doing the other thing. But now, because it's almost natural, it's not an issue, you know. And I think that's where people need to focus a bit more. It's actually just getting the content right. There's a expat here in Spain that's doing really good stuff with a drone as well, to the point I'm looking at buying another drone myself, because I've got the original DJI one, but it's now on version 4, and the version 4 looks a lot better, but I've just got to justify $1,500 US dollars for buying a new one, when I hardly use the other one. Because I've been busy when I moved to Spain or whatever. But drone stuff is really good. But the thing, if you're using a drone, make sure that you can use it legally. There's been people arrested in the UK and prosecuted, and I'm sure it's happened in other countries, especially if it crashes through somebody's lounge window or puts a car through a wall or something because it caused an accident. It's like most things, just use it with a bit of common sense. The drone footage is pretty good as well. And the other thing good with a drone is you can get some nice smooth shots even at ground level, you know, because the thing is, if you're walking around, you can like follow somebody with a skateboard or whatever. Those things are good at that. But then again, this is what I say, you start moving away from the basic costs, and already I'm talking another extra $1,500 for a drone. Christopher Lane asking Real Deal if he's got a drone. I don't think Real Deal's got a drone at the moment. Might be somewhere on this list later. Might be on this Christmas list. But yeah, start with a basic editor. I find that a good mobile phone is perfect for the audio. And sometimes if your video is not good enough for the audio, record your audio separately on your mobile phone. Because if you can get better quality out of your phone, use it to your advantage, because you can stitch the two together. Real Deal says, no, he hasn't got a drone, but I have a good cockatoo. You should try getting a GoPro camera attached to the cockatoo. See what the footage comes back like, if it could take off with it. Yeah, that gets onto the cameras. GoPros were a pretty big thing. I think when they first come out, it was new, it was interesting. And I would say, look at alternatives now. The reason being is there's a lot of cheaper ones out there, but the quality is just as good, sometimes even better. So, I mean, I can't really comment on the other ones directly. I've just seen some of the footage of other cameras, and they seem perfectly fine. I've got 2 GoPros here, but I hardly use them. I should use them, but I just don't. I find that the battery life's probably one of the things that puts me off, because I find they go flat if I leave them too long. So when I go to use it, which reminds me, we're in Alicante on Friday. I'll use them on Friday. I'll have to charge them up this weekend. Yeah, as Real Deal says, a good smartphone does the trick. Exactly. 90% of my stuff is on my Samsung Note 2. I repeat that, it's a Samsung Note 2. It's not the latest Samsung 7 or anything else. It's an older phone, but it does the job. It does the job. The only thing that's let me down at the moment is I can't do these sort of live chats yet, because you need 10,000 subscribers for YouTube to give you access to that. I know that's only temporary at the moment, but at the same time, it'd be nice to be doing this sort of stuff out and about. I mean, like, I'm in Alicante on Friday. It'd be nice to video some of the stuff while I'm there. Or when we're out and about, like this morning, they were delivering a restaurant dropping it off with a crane this morning. I could have stuck that on a live event. I know some people go, well, that's not really exciting. It's like, well, it is here. There's not a lot else going on. So yeah, that's the thing, content. And the thing with content is it's not always interesting to you. What I mean is, some of the stuff that you think, well, nobody's going to watch that, people do, because for you, it's every day. It's normal. As I mentioned earlier, Christopher Lane does a lot of stuff around Cebu. One of the videos, his recent ones, was about telephone loading, loading it with credit. Now, that's got a lot of interest, because a lot of people need to know that information. So even everyday stuff, there is people interested in it. It's like gaming. You know, when people sit and watch people playing computer games, I couldn't even understand why somebody would watch somebody play a computer game. I don't even watch sports most of the time, because I like playing sports, but I'm not a fan of sitting watching other people playing sports. But yeah, there's a market for it. Yeah, that's Christopher Lane says, people love when I just walk around. It's so boring to me. Exactly. People are so excited about it, especially OFWs. OFWs love it, because I know guys, an overseas Filipino worker, if they've been away from home for a period of time, like 5 years, or I mean, some people have been away for decades, they love seeing their neighborhood. They really do. They're like, oh, I used to go there when I was a kid and all that sort of stuff. So even just wandering around with a camera on, people watch it. I like doing the motorbike ride stuff, but it'd be nice to be able to fund the motorbike rides from the videos. It doesn't pay enough, but it is nice you get a lot of positive comments, because people are going, oh, I remember that restaurant. My aunt owns this store and all this sort of stuff. But that's a prime example of, you don't have to do much for people to be interested in stuff you're doing. I know I'm not saying that the average person is boring. I'm just saying that the thing is, a lot of the material is day-to-day stuff. A lot of stuff from my technology side, I know is, I find it too simple. I was trying to help somebody the other day with something, and I'm like, how come you don't know that? It's like, I've known that since 1980, whatever. And then you sit there realizing, but because I use it every day, you know, it's already locked in my head. When, you know, I got my first computer back in the 80s. We were living out in Hong Kong. So my technology, I had my first computer at 6 years old, when most companies didn't have one. So I started off early on. But the thing is, you always have something. And this is the thing. There is always something in there that you can use to your advantage. You've got knowledge, you've got experience, you've got a hobby, you've got something you're really interested in. That's why there's things like a lot of foodie stuff, you know, where people go on about food. They're not even cooking it. They're tasting food in a restaurant and going, this tastes really bitter, nice, whatever. And people are interested. Philippines travel advice. What is the best camera setup for a motorbike ride? I've tested a few things, and I think you need to have a gimbal for the stability because you get vibration. So whatever gimbal fits your camera. The GoPro works really well, but it does need a gimbal to stabilize it. If you don't know, if people don't know what gimbal is, if you move, it automatically levels it out and keeps it level, so you get smooth movement. Because one of the things you get in motorbike rides is the vibration off the bike in the road, which can throw the camera up and down constantly. So when you actually put the footage together at the end, it doesn't look great because there's been so much movement on the camera. That's why when I'm normally recording on the bike, I'm normally sat on the back of the motorbike, actually with a camcorder in my hand, because I'm using my arm to stabilize it. But yeah, I've got a gimbal in that now for the GoPro, and that works really well, keeps it smooth. The reason I use GoPro is because I already own GoPro. Christopher Lane, gimbals are pretty pricey. They are. I can't even remember how much I paid for mine. Because a lot of stuff I buy is normally a gift to myself for a contract. Like say I've had a good work contract and got a bonus or something, so I just buy this stuff. I'm just like, oh yeah, I've had a good whatever, and just buy it. But I think it was a couple of $100. But yeah, but I think some of the stuff's coming down in price as well. But I will say also with the gimbals, make sure it does what you want it to do, because there's different types. Because some of them have got the mounting for helmets, other ones have got extra longer arms, some have got these sliders and different motions and stuff on them. So I would say you need to hunt around and get one that works for you. And the first thing I start with is just going into YouTube, going gimbal review 2017, you know, and get the latest stuff, because the prices come down. New models come out, and you may find that there's a new model of X, but the last version does exactly what you want, and the new version may be a few $100s more for not a lot else. You know, it's more round or whatever. Yeah, but it doesn't make it the camera any better. Well, no. Well, I'll go with the older one and save myself some money. So yeah, yeah. With a motorbike setup, I would go with maybe a bike mount and a helmet mount, because you can get two different sets of recordings. So when you can patch them together and do stuff. But that's what I'm saying, you start getting things overcomplicated. But it all depends what type of videos you're putting together. Because you can get a gimbal mount that fixes to the side of the bike. You can also get one that sits on the top of your helmet. You really need to research which ones do what you want it to do. You know, do you want it moving around where your head's facing, or are you looking at locking it to the bike and it stays exactly where the bike's pointing? Those are the sort of things you've got to look at, because when you're buying the equipment, you need to decide, is it going to do what I want it to do? Because if you look backwards, is it going to look backwards with you? You know, that sort of stuff. Because there's a guy here in Spain that does a lot on motorbikes, and his videos, some of them are backwards. He points the camera backwards and stuff. Christopher Lane, gimbals make a world of difference though. So smooth. Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. The drone does it as well. You know, the drone can create some amazing smooth videos. I'll find it. I'm going to find a expat I know here in Spain, because he does everything on drones. You know, that's his forte. He loves them. He is the reason I'm buying a new drone. Let me find him. So you can have a look at his channel later. But anything related to drones, he's a friendly guy, and he's always testing new gear. I think even in his room, you know, where he does his podcasts and these videos, there's at least four different drones sat behind him. So he does spend a few pesos on this stuff. His name's Expat in Mazaron. I've just added it in the live chat. That's Expat in Mazaron. Mazaron is M-A-Z-A-R-R-O-N. Friendly British guy. but he's got some amazing footage because he's going around Spain videoing different locations, and he's got a few other people with drones. That's one of the places for me. I mean, I'm a bit biased because he's not far from where I live, so I'm going to meet up with him at some point because I'll pick his brain about setting up my drone. But at the same time, the videos he does are pretty good. But yeah, the gimbal wise, they do make it a lot smoother. But like I said, it all depends what you want to do with it. If you're walking along the street as well, you get the one with the gimbal stick. So you got the gimbal on the top moving around, but the stick, you hold the stick and it keeps it stable. So even when you're running, the footage stays level. It doesn't go wild, but you can also rotate it around smoothly as well. So you can do panning shots and stuff. But yeah, all depends what you're looking to do. I mean, if you're doing stuff like live chats and things like that, you don't really need it. It's nice to have it, but you don't really need it. You might be better off with a mixer desk and a better mic and other bits and pieces that you could probably get for the same budget. And then once you've got that making you a bit of money, then go and buy it out of the your AdSense. Get it to make you some money back. Yeah, so that's a good point. Yeah, the gimbals are good. I should have brought my gimbal in here, but then again, my video ain't working. So, like cookery shows on radio, it's the gimbal thing's the same. I can't. There's no point me actually bringing a gimbal to go. Oh yeah, look how smooth that is. Yeah, doesn't work. But yeah, so you expand the equipment out as you're going, because you start going, well, I want to do more footage on, like, who was I was just saying that Philippine travel advice, doing motorbikes. So you might start off with walking around, doing backpacking type videos, walking around the market, or even just sat in a room. And then you start going, okay, well, I've got my computer, got my webcam, get started with that. People start taking an interest and go, okay, I'm going to do some more stuff outdoors. So then you start looking at what equipment you need to get started outdoors. And then you start going, okay, I've done that. Okay, I want a gimbal, I want a drone, I want this. And it soon starts building up. Yeah, Real Deal's just bought a Mackie 4 channel mixer. How are you finding that? Because I think it's very similar to the one I'm using here, probably quality-wise. Although, like I said, I did have a problem with this on the PC, on my desktop, where it was getting some feed through the USB. I think it was a loose earth on the system. But I've got the Alesis Multi-Mix 4 USB FX, which it's good. I mean, you probably can tell the quality difference, but compared to my other mic. But they're not excessively expensive, but the quality change is worth the investment. You do get a better input and output and a lot more control over the sound. You can alter the sound. So yeah, the mixers are worth the money. But like I said, you don't have to invest in that straight away. You can record these videos on your mobile phone. Do this stuff which works. Yeah, Real Deal's just waiting for his audio interface. Once that's set up, we'll have to get on and just see what the difference is. Well, we'll do a comparison on the sound qualities, mess around with them a bit. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just keep it simple to start with, then you develop over time. Let's say you start off with, I'm going to do videos of, I don't know, train sets, where you go to these train convention things and you watch videoing the trains going around the track. And you might want to sit that on a tripod and stuff like that for stabilizing the shots, and then using a DSLR so you can get a nice wide shot, do a bit of zooming in, etc. And that's what I'm saying. You adapt it to what you need, and that's the key thing here. Is don't start off with something too expensive, because you might buy the wrong equipment. You go and spend, I think my camera equipment's worth about £2,000 just for my photography stuff. So if you bought that gear and then you only needed a mobile phone, but if you'd spent all your money on that, you might not have the money for a new mixer, a new microphone, whatever else that you should have been spending the money on, which would have improved it. in a way that actually would have made a difference on your channel. Yeah, the importance is sitting there and working out what you're going to do, what you're going to do with it. But initially, just start making stuff. Just get started. Start doing it, and then you go, oh, that audio sounds crap. I need a new mic, or can I clean the mic up? You know, is there a way to improve that? Am I getting too much background noise? Because you can use Audacity to adjust some of that stuff. You can take out some of the sound noise, like a rain hitting tin roofs and stuff like that. You can adjust it. You can filter that out. There's ways of doing it in Audacity. One of the things I want to say as well, I do have a vlogging playlist of the videos I've done before about getting started in vlogging, and it's in the description on here. So it's a list of videos that I've made before that people might find useful. But ultimately, I think the initial thing is just start making content. Just make more and more video. Philippines travel advice, I would like to see you do more on video editing. Yeah, no problem. I'll do some more. I don't mind people asking me for specific products as well, or asking me how to do a specific thing. Because sometimes it's like this week, somebody was asking me how to do print screen for something. For me, it's just something I don't even think about. Yeah, I can do more on video editing. Which video editing software do you use? Yeah, sorry, April just got to the door. Must have forgot the keys. Yeah, Movie Maker. I can do a fair bit of Movie Maker. I think there is actually. I've done some videos on Movie Maker before, but I could probably do a bit more. I could probably run through a tutorial from start to finish, going through all the different things on there. Yeah, because I think I did a beginner one, but I could do more with it. Yeah, that's for sure. I should put my glasses on. I can't read my screen because I'm just looking for the tutorial I made on that. Yeah, see that, like there's one there, Windows Movie Maker, how to split audio and remove and repair with Audacity. Yeah, there's some bits and pieces. What I might do is just do one that covers through the different stages of making videos, from putting an intro on it, inserting slideshows, all that sort of stuff. Okay, yeah, no problem. I'll make a note of that. More Movie Maker tutorials. Yeah, no problem. I'll do that. I'll add that to my list. What I'll also do as well, I think I'll do some beginner ones for the different types of software so people can compare them. Because I'll try and do the same setup on each one so that you can see the differences between the software. Because obviously, I find iMovie is really great for just dropping and just editing and pretty quick, but I do find Movie Maker is a little bit too simplistic because some of the editing stuff is a bit more difficult in there because you got to find it. Everybody's coming to the door right now. It's we've got the postwoman who just arrived as well. One of us got my Cat 6 cable. But yeah, I'll do that. I promise I'll do that. That's on my list now. Yeah, so it's getting busy in the background. But one of the things I will say though is we'll get started, keep it simple, start making videos, and then you start to see what you need to adjust and learn. Like I said, the big problem I have with some of the software is too complicated too early, because you start trying to do stuff, because I know when I learn stuff, I like to learn something that I'm using. All right, Mark. That's all right. I haven't seen you for ages. Yeah, Mark Ledbetter is here. Yeah, I haven't spoken to Mark for ages. Me and Mark have known each other a while. But yeah, yeah, Mark, I'll be able to update you on your Facebook as well. So yeah, I'll let you know when I've done that video. But yeah, there's Movie Maker. I'll do more on Movie Maker. I'll do more on iMovie as well, because those two, I think, are the main ones for people to get started, and then we'll develop it from there. There's a load of stuff to do, and it's surprising how many little things can appear. I've got major construction going on outside at the minute. The whole road's up. But there is a lot of stuff that you can tweak and adjust and mess around with to improve the video quality, as well as improve the way it's done, you know, with the intros and outros, and just lots of bits and pieces. And I'll go throughout and make some audio as well, because although some of the audio is technically free, you know, they go royalty free, but if they change that it's royalty free or not, then suddenly something that could be on all your videos that was royalty free could suddenly become copyright, and then somebody puts a claim in for all of it. So that's something to be aware of. That's why I recommend either not putting outros and intros or copyright music, because, or even royalty free. You just got to be careful, because if they decide to make it so that it's copyright, you may have to sit and chop all the outros out or the intros out purely because the music's in there. Something to be aware of, because that's not set in stone. They can just change it. They could sell it to another company, for example. So, you know, if I was going to make outros, you know, it was a bit devious, I could make, say, a load of outros for free, let them run for 2 years with the soundtracks and everything on them, and then turn around and go, you know what, that's copyright. I'm putting a copyright on everybody's videos that have got my outros on them. It can be done. I'm surprised nobody's done it heavily yet, but it would surprise me if somebody does. So yeah, try and keep the content to your own content. That's a good one. Yeah, try not to use other people's stuff. Because even when it's your own stuff, people will sometimes say it's theirs. There's companies out there that will, they've done it to me a couple of times. They've turned around and said, that's copyright of me, blah, blah, blah. And I've got, no, it's not. And then it's been disputed and it's been found in my favor because it was my content. But there is companies out there. I've been flagged with companies in the East. I've got a bobcat outside now. We went to JCB earlier. I hope he ain't going to make too much noise. If it gets too noisy, I might have to cut this one off today. But yeah, keep the content to your own. Microphones, as long as your microphone's clear or not, is clear, use it. Start with your mobile phone if you can. It saves buying anything until you know what you want to do and how you want to present it. But if you want to clean the audio up on your phone, buy yourself a mic. If you've got a crappy camera, which is with audio, where the camera does good visual but crappy audio, use your phone with a recording piece of software, and then just use that and stitch them together with like Movie Maker, so you can record your audio separately. One of the tips I will say is when you're doing that, so that you know when the audio starts, just give it a little few seconds going into the track, and then just make a bumping sound, like bumping the mic like this. You probably heard that. I hope you hear it, because the bobcat's right outside. Because it's easy to line that sound up. So when you get the audio track separate, you got the audio track on your video, and you cut that one out, and you want to put the audio track that you recorded on your phone. When you get that popping sound on your mic where you tapped it, you can line them up, and then that way it gives you a starting point. Because when you look through things like the Audacity or any of these bits of software, where you see the spikes, that'll let you know where that audio started. You can line them up a bit easier that way. It's just a little tip there. I think I'm going to have to cut this one off early today, but yeah, I'll do some more videos on vlogging. And the key element here, is get started. Start today. Don't have to monetize it straight away. Don't have to overthink it. I say just get started. My first videos, if you look at them, are really crap. They're really bad in the sense that I wasn't comfortable with the camera, audio wasn't great, or having the stuttering issues where you're like, I don't know what to say, you know. So the best thing is just get started, get into it. Once it starts ticking over, you'll be happy. You know, it'll all start kicking in, it'll all start flowing, and you'll get more at ease with it, which means you've got more control over the equipment, because instead of having to get those pauses and think what you're going to say, you just say it naturally, which means you can think about, is the audio set up right? Is this right? Is the camera too close? Is the camera too far? Am I recording the right thing? You know, because you can do more than one thing at once then. And it just builds on the quality of your presentation. And I apologize for the noise here. I can't do a lot about the guy outside. I'm just glad it wasn't, the JCB hasn't come back, because we had a JCB with the hammer on it earlier. They're ripping the road up for new electric cables. But thanks for everybody who joined us today. And if you've got any questions or would like me to discuss specific things, just put it in the comments below. I'll probably try and do another one of these later on today, another podcast, maybe on a different topic. But yeah, Mark, yeah, I'll certainly take a look at the intros for not the intros, the tutorials, and look at putting a tutorial together. All right, thanks everybody.